Is land investing risky? This is a question I hear often asked, and many times people talk as if land is very risky, which is ridiculous to generalize like that, within the context of apartments or houses. Everybody knows there are certain investments that are risky and some that are not. If you go buy a D-class apartment building in East Cleveland that's 100 years old, there's a lot of risk there. Whereas if you buy an A-class new construction building in a nice prime market, everybody knows that's kind of the treasury bond of real estate and is not risky. And for some reason, this distinction is not made within the context of land. And so that is what I'm talking about in this video. Number one, because you need to understand this just for your own business so you know what risk you are or are not taking when you're deploying capital and working to sell lots. But also, it's very helpful to understand this so that you are able to get investors to fund your deals and invest in your business. So, I'm going to use a couple examples here. Let me start with this lot. We're under contract to sell it. It's in Citrus County, Florida, Crystal River specifically. It's not in a flood zone. It's not in wetlands. It has water service, power, and septic is standard here. This market's growing like crazy, and a builder's buying it to put a house that'll probably be 250 to 300 grand. Right? These lots, these are not risky. They need zero work done to them to make them buildable as far as extension of utilities or work with the county to change zoning or get a variance. All of that is done. The plat and subdivide was done long ago. Um, it's shovel ready, and there's huge demand. It will have a house put on it for someone to buy as their primary residence. These lots are what I focus on mostly because these sell so reliably, and these are not risky because the demand fueling them is fundamental to people's ability to have shelter, as opposed to, on the opposite end of the spectrum, a lot like this. This is one I own. And I know it's more risky. I know it might sit for a while, but that's okay. 35 acres, someone will probably put their house on this, but it's not in a rapidly growing market. It's not affordable to most people. It's not somewhere where someone's just buying a house to just go to their new job, right? And so this sort of product is far more risky. It might take 8 months to sell. I bet, it's been on for 40 days. It's December the 10th. I bet it'll sell early next year, but maybe not. And I don't know for sure. Whereas this lot, I can really reliably predict if I price it right that it's going to sell. No wetland or flood zone on this one as well, which makes it in demand. So these are good examples of a contrast between riskier land investing and not very risky land investing, right? The price point is affordable. Could have been an end user buying this, but it did end up being a builder who will put a house on it that someone's just going to live in as their home as they commute to the Tampa metro, most likely. Florissant, Colorado, this is another great example of a riskier sort of land because this is mostly recreational, or someone's going to put a cabin on these lots and go up there over the weekend. A lot of these markets are that way. So another example, if you're going to buy this sort of land, oftentimes it needs power extension. Topography can be a challenge. There's way more uncertainty around how quickly it'll sell. Another contrast, this lot in Ocala, infill, ready to go, building like crazy, new construction in the 200s. These lots are not risky. I think of them as borderline liquid, because there's so much demand here, right? And so to finish this whole conversation, whether or not land is risky depends on the type of land and the area you're going after. Here's Charleston, South Carolina. This market is exploding. I go down here a lot because my parents live nearby, and I have never seen more new construction of manufacturing facilities and, yeah, mainly manufacturing and industrial facilities along these corridors than I have seen in Charleston. It is crazy. And corresponding to that are all kinds of jobs and then needed housing because people have to live here. And so infill lots that are finished, right, that don't need variances or subdivides or utility extensions in this market move very, very quickly. Same sort of scenario. If you get an infill lot here and you're buying it at a discount, again, assuming it's got everything that's needed to be built on, it's a pretty foolproof way to make money, right? There's low, low, low risk as opposed to doing lots like this. And a good business, I think, has both of them because you can sometimes get very outsized returns on these sorts of lots. But these ones are on the opposite end of the spectrum where it's hard to get a deal, but man, do they sell quickly. And so, to answer the question, is land risky? It depends. And it depends on the characteristics of the market and the characteristics of the given lot. And that distinction is lost on many people. And those of us who make money in the business understand that and use it to our advantage. So I hope that's helpful.